The next speaker is Tim Pastoor. He's busy with a very interesting thing because now you see a second wave of, you first had Bitcoin and now you see all kinds of new initiatives of what can we do with Bitcoin and the blockchain. So please a big applause for Tim Pastoor.
Thank you everybody. Good night. My name is Tim Pastoor. I'm working on Indentifi. It is a web of trust. If you look at Bitcoin, it solves an issue of trust. That's among computers. It does it, and with computers you can make it work. But how do you do it? That has been a big problem for a long time, because how do you know if you can trust either in Japan or here in Amsterdam? I'll explain it in English. The question is, why do we need a web of trust? Well, we have a few problems. The first one is that central parties store our sensitive data. And that's a problem because either those central parties can't be trusted sometimes, or they lose our data because of central authorities also tell us who we can trust and shouldn't trust. So we're always dependent on these central parties in order to know we can trust, do business with, for example. So a central solution isn't a solution. What we have right now is the wild, wild web, because it's very difficult to know who you can trust. You can go to a website, you can see a few ratings from a person, but then you have to search, you have to Google him, you have to find if he has more reviews on Amazon or Uber or to see if you can actually trust this person. So it's a very expensive process to find out if you even want to give the benefit of the person. So this has been a problem that has existed before the internet. But back in the days, if we would go back to the 1950s, the bakery around the corner could be trusted because all your friends went over there and over there, so you simply knew that you could go over there and buy a loaf of bakery because everybody knew he could be trusted. But nowadays, where everybody's on the internet, you can do your bank management on a website. At the same time, you can trade Bitcoins on an exchange in Japan. You can buy clothes in America, but you never know who's behind it. So it's very difficult to know if you can even trust these people behind it. So what's the solution? A web of trust. And that's why we're working on Indentifi. Indentifi is a fork from the Bitcoin daemon. So in the basics, it's all Bitcoin code. But the only thing is blockchain. And why is that? Well, because we can't use, at least that's what we believe, we can't use the blockchain for trust among. It's very nice if you could use it for Nakamoto consensus among nodes based on mathematics, but among humans you can't fully automate trust. So Indentifi is a sort of a social trust network. You create your own identity, either a public one or an anonymous one, that's up to you. You decide which identifier you'd like to connect to your online identity. So this way you organize your own identity and you finally have the ability to manage your own identity. Next, you only add people you trust yourself, and that's because most other webs of trust, they work with blacklisting principle. So at first they try to look at all the information that's coming in, and then they try to filter out, like what spam filters do, for example. They take all the emails and then they try to filter out spam messages. What we are doing is the other saying, okay, I only want to send emails from these people, or I only want to make it possible for these people to call me, so if it calls me, my phone simply doesn't ring. And this way we can start creating a network of people we actually trust. And from there on we can look at the people. So it works from the inside out. It works from the people and parties you already trust to the parties they trust, and from there on we organize trust. Hopefully we automate it. Like I said, that's impossible. We just try to help you make it more visual who you already trust and who you can most probably trust. I'm going to show you some more in real life after this. So if you look at the advantages, if you compare it to a centralized reputation system, your identity and your reputation suddenly becomes mobile. If you're a good driver on Uber, you can now bring your reputation platform, for example Amazon. So if you're a new Amazon, a new merchant, then you can bring your good reputation from and already show people that you already have a pretty nice reputation. So this network gives an incentive to be a good guy. It actually rewards you for being good, because if you're a good guy among the network, your reputation will increase. Reputation increases, it becomes more easier to do business or any other form of interaction. Next to that, there's non-violent justice. We're used to punishing people if they do something wrong. So it could be either by mistake or they could do it on purpose. But the normal reaction nowadays is to punish people. If we look at Robocoin, for example, I think some people have read about it. Was a supplier of Bitcoin ATMs. Some parties already paid $20,000, $30,000 to this company and never received an ATM. So at some point, one party decided to put all their email conversations on the internet to advise other people to make sure that they were aware of what would happen if they would transfer their money to this company, because it looked like they couldn't be trusted. It took them to live the goods. So in the end, after publishing this information, Robocoin came back to them and they said, okay, now we want to solve money and we just want to help now.
Weibo is back.
Sorry?
Weibo, he disappeared.
Yeah.
So, if we would have sort of an advanced warning system beforehand, if you take Mt. Gox for example, approximately $400 million were lost at Mt. Gox. So if we would have an advanced warning system where we could act companies like, you don't have to put a thumbs down, but you can also put a question like, okay, just be careful if you do business with this company, be sure if they're reliable. Then if we could have, let's say, identified in the hypothetical form, could have saved people. So what if only 10% of the people who lost their money at Mt. Gox were warned beforehand and didn't lose any money? It would save people $40 million. So non-violent justice, it offers compensation over punishment. So it gives the ability to people to say, okay, well, sorry, I made a mistake. How can we make it right again? That's something we currently simply don't have in our system. So in our system, there is no central party that stores sensitive information. We're not dependent on the so you can know who to trust and who you can't trust. It's based on source math. It's based on Bitcoin daemon. You're not bound to any country, so think of going on holiday in 20 years, just bringing your mobile phone, not needing any passport. You could use your mobile phone both as a wallet and as your passport as a phone. So if you look at the trust network, there's a lot of economical possibilities because it becomes much easier to do business with people with good reputation. It also becomes easier to find people who you probably can't trust.
Don't you have the problem that it's a very one-dimensional thing, like you're saying it now, trust?
It's actually a two-dimension.
Yeah,
First
okay.
dimension is identity, and the second dimension is reputation. I'll show you type in a few seconds, and maybe I hope it will clear things up. So in the future, we will finally have responsibility for bad service. Nowadays, if you go somewhere, they don't help you, you're screwed. What are you going to do? You can put it on a website, you can put it on a forum, but now we finally have a system where you can make it clear that certain companies, organizations, the government, whatever, that they're not really helpful. So it also becomes easier to do business, as I said. You could also think like photo computers. If you want to go there, that's a whole different question. I already mentioned going on holiday without a passport. Create a network where you could find a drone operator which is due to deliver a certain package. So how does it work? Well, this is one example. It doesn't work like this at the moment, but it's just it could work. You could go to a bar. So let's say I meet somebody over here tonight and he wants to lend some money. Yes. You can take a picture of his face, check his reputation, see, okay, according to my friends or the people they know, I can trust this person. I'm going to lend him 20 bucks, and after he returns me those 20 bucks in a few days, I will give him thumbs up. This is a good person. I've done business with this person, and he has repaid me. So I don't even have to know this person. So, I'll show you the prototype now to then answer your questions. Is this clear for me? Yes. This is the prototype for Indentifi. You can find it at identi.fi. And this is what it looks like at the moment. This is just a prototype, so in the full release it will be much more visual map, so you can actually see visually what your networks look like and who links to whom. And if you have a bunch of fake identities somewhere, they will just link to each other with only one link to a real identity. And you can just simply cut a link, and all the fake identities are gone. So that's how we have solved the problem with the fake identities. So if you look here, you will see people I trust myself. So for example, these are a few friends of mine who've added themselves. And if I go to my own profile, identity, you see that it has two dimensions. Ratings, both received and sent, and it has the connections. I want to start with the connections, because this is what actually makes up my online identity. I've decided to share, for example, my GitHub, my Facebook, etc. I've added my name to it because I chose a public profile. I've added some skills, and what other people can do is they can either verify or disregard it. So if you're sure that my name is connected to this Facebook account, you can simply say, yeah, that's right. And then if somebody else who knows you and trusts you looks at my profile, see that you have verified that my name belongs to that profile, or my email, telephone number, or my Bitcoin address, or PHP address. So this is an example of a public identity. So open my name here, for example. I can see I verified it myself. Ruben from Blockchain, and Niels from Tiltcoin has verified it. And this way, if you know one of these people, trust one of these people, look at my profile, you'll see that they have verified that this is my name, that this is my GitHub, this is my LinkedIn, this is my Twitter. So that's the identity dimension. You have the second dimension, because I want to be able to send someone a rating for any kind of interaction. So if I buy something from you, I'll give you a rating on if there was proper service, if there was good after sales, the delivery of the package, whatever specific ratings for each of those. What I see right here is just the people I trust myself. So I'll show you an example. Profile. Timos, maybe some of you know. He's a Bitcoin Talk forum administrator. He's been using the system for a while now, together with a few other names, probably Maxwell and a few others. And right now, you can see viewpoint stands on indefinite. So right now, I can see all the ratings that are ever given to this person. But to me, that's really relevant, because I just want to know, okay, what do the people I trust say about this person? So then I can change the viewpoint. Then you will see there is just me. There are a million views or a million ratings at the moment, but no rating any person I trust. So right now, I would need information from other people. Right now, it's still difficult for me to say if I can trust this person or not. But if I go to these connections, I can again check to see if there are other people I know who have trusted this person. It's still in alpha, so it's a pretty early release prototype to show how it works. But this is basically the two, because what you saw at my profile on the connections, it was all public information. My full name, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Facebook, because I chose for that. This person chose to simply add a Bitcoin OTC address, his nickname. You could also add a PHP key or a Bitcoin address or identifiers which are anonymous. This way, you can choose to either create a public profile, an anonymous profile, or both, because you can actually valid identities. You can sometimes choose to use identity, and for other instances, you could choose to use your anonymous identity. This is how we think we've solved the problem of trust in the internet. So, any questions?
I'm confused, because you're showing let's say, a consumer type of interface.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, much more of a trust broker system,
Mm-hmm.
with a lot more B2B.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting for companies to work on API.
Exactly.
Where are you going? Because it's two very different approaches.
I agree. Available, because first of all, you have the peer-to-peer network work itself. This is all public information. You can decide which nodes you want to trust, and according to both trust, you can exchange information with these other nodes. But let's say that I'm a company, so I'm Uber, I'm eBay, I use customers on my website. What I can then do, set up my own node, and I use API of the peer-to-peer network to, for example, do extra validity checks, to know your customers or anti-money checks, without actually needing to store any sensitive. So it has a lot of possible applications, both for the consumer side and for the business-to-business side.
Yeah, for me, it's much more about solving the dilemma. So getting the let's say the trust profile in. If you're going to build a system where people need to put it in here, it's a very big hurdle to take. Whether if you're a B2B service and you would find a way for the companies to help build those trust profiles. It's a very different approach. I mean,
the good thing is that we don't even need it, because somebody can already link their, for example, their eBay user profile or their.
I'm saying it's very hard to get people to build up a trust in a new platform.
Yeah, in the beginning it is, but that's also a fact. So as soon as you have more people entering the network, with each node, it becomes exponentially more valuable for people to join. Because in the beginning, if you add another person, it's even better than that, because if another person, you simply add exponential value. But in this case, that I trust 10 people myself. So if you add one person who has 10 people you trust, you actually add 10 valuable people.
But there's a very big difference between practically. It's a good talk for one of the questions.
It's pretty cool. Same part. Wait, do you know Thermos?
Not to me, but yeah, I know.
First scene part, where does that obtain from? Does that come from?
Which part?
First scene, 2011 0508. Where's that extracted from?
It's when he actually created the identity on the network itself.
This is that old, it's 3 years, 4 years?
Not completely, because the development started in April, so the date is right in this case. But if you, not sure if I can look at all the ratings at the moment, but you'll see that he's been participating on the platform for a while now. If you put indefinite and you look at all the ratings, you scroll all the way down, you'll see that he has been using it for a while now.
Okay, you should look after the forum a bit though, I think.
Yeah, it's some people say he's a good administrator and other people say he's a bad administrator. So that's why this is a very interesting example. If my friends say that he can be trusted and that he's a good guy, and other people say that he can't be trusted, then to me it's more relevant that the people I trust say that I can trust him.
Yeah.
But what about people that don't know you? For instance, I used to run a conspiracy website. I know for sure that they would be trolling me by getting my reputation down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because those are people you don't know, you don't trust.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have any on your reputation to the people you trust.
But if I don't know you and I want to do a transaction with you, it will show up that lots of people.
But that's also why we're trying to make it more visual, so that you start from the center and work your way out.
Okay.
Because if you look at the people you trust yourself or the people they trust. Because if you look at people, what they are saying, it's not relevant, because you could hire somebody in China, 10 million fake reviews, and that would take down your reputation.
Yeah.
So we give you the option to put it on one viewpoint, so only the people you trust yourself, or on the second viewpoint, so you can look at people they trust, or even the people they trust at the third viewpoint, or you can put it on indefinite.
Kind of social network analysis.
So this is why we want to make it even more visual, so that it becomes even more clear how it works, and that you can see who really belongs to your network and entities are probably fake. That's something you can filter out this way.
We have to work with.
Just one more.
Okay,
Is that
one more.
decentralized?
Yeah, it's peer-to-peer. So like I said, in the right now it's still a prototype.
Yeah.
It's Bitcoin daemon, so all the basics are there, the cryptography, the command line user interface, etc. And the idea is to, if I set up a node and I trust your node, then I can either receive information or send information to your node. And this way a company could also set up their own reputation. If I have agreements with suppliers, and after each interaction supplier, I can rate that interaction without giving that information to the rest of the world. But what I could do is do additional checks on my supplier in the network to see if other people, other companies or other people I know, I trust, if they trust them. So this way it becomes more semantic because you can link all the data to each other. And anybody can run his own node and anybody can decide which information to share with whom.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
And something I should be mentioning, and I think I haven't mentioned yet, is GitHub. Indentifi was created by Marty Momi, and Marty Momi is also known as Sirius, and he was the first developer after Satoshi Nakamoto to be working on Bitcoin. So a lot of skills are within our team at the moment. Working with Arjen Kamphuis, Dutch activist, on the privacy issues. He's going to make a full analysis, and we're hoping to work together with Bits of Freedom soon, and Jaap Henk Hoekman, who's assistant privacy at Radboud Universiteit, so that they can make a full analysis of all the privacy aspects that come along with the reputational system, and also the model that we've chosen, so that we can make it more clear on a scientific level.
It's difficult to oversee all the
it's
applications.
It's very abstract, it's very complex, you have billions of possible applications, because if you go to the Wikipedia page of reputational systems, you'll see Google PageRank, Uber, Wikipedia, Reddit, etc. These are all reputation systems. All of these reputational systems could be replaced by an Indentifi number. And that's the coolest thing, because we don't store any sensitive data. We don't look at profile inside, we just need a link and other people to tell you if that's true.
These
Yeah, okay.
big ones for the